Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. Join me as we have a real-life discussion on how to change your life by changing your thoughts. Remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth. Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. My name is Sloan Fremont, and I'm your host. On this episode, I want to share some thoughts on finding your niche in the new paradigm. So what exactly does that mean? We're going to get into that this week. But before I do, I just want to say welcome if you're new to the show. Thank you for listening. And if you've been listening for a while, thank you as well. This is a show where we talk about changing our lives by changing our thoughts. And a new episode goes live every Monday on webtalkradio.net. I also post my most recent shows on my Gab TV channel. So I'll link to all that in the show notes for you to find out more information. And if you're interested in supporting me and the work that I do, one way to do that is through my course, 33 Days of Magic. This is where you can really take what you learn in the episodes and apply them in your daily life. I have a 33-day practice that are the exact steps I use to change my life. It's really amazing. It's very doable, very practical, and very realistic. So if you're interested in learning more, check out 33daysofmagic.com. All right, so this concept this week, this idea of finding your niche in the new paradigm. So I did a brief video on this. I do, in between podcast episodes, a lot of times I have more information that I want to share or more that I want to say. So I do brief videos on my Gab TV channel called Reality Management. And what those are just brief 5 to 10 minute videos to really help all of us, including myself, navigate just what we're going through right now, right? Just this, I don't know, craziness isn't even the word, but just all the different way of being that we've experienced over the last year or so. So I did a quick video on this called Growing into Our Potential, and I'm still not past this. I still feel like there's more to say about it. So that's why I wanted to revisit a few points that I said in that episode and expand on that a little bit more in this episode. And I'm calling this Finding Your Niche in the New Paradigm because I feel like right now there is just so much opportunity for everyone. And I know it looks like there's so much chaos going on, and there is in a lot of places, right? If you choose to look at that. But in that chaos always brings opportunity. There's opportunity for change. There's opportunity for new ways of doing things. There's opportunities for better ways of doing things. And I feel like everybody I talk to, including myself, everybody is just so dissatisfied right now with what's going on and what people have learned over the last year that this dissatisfaction, again, it creates another opportunity for all of us to find our niche and find better ways to do things and offer that to the world. So this growing into your potential that I did on the other reality management video and even this thought today about finding your niche in the new paradigm. And let me tell you what I mean by new paradigm, what it means to me personally. You may have a different definition, but this is what it means to me. It's pretty obvious things are shifting in the world, right? Some things are crumbling down that used to be in place and have been in place for many years and have, many of us have believed to be true. And over the past year, we're finding some of the things that we believed are actually not true, that there's just more than meets the eye of our reality. And so to me, we can't unknow what we've learned over the past year, right? We're going to know, we just can't unsee it. And so with that, things are shifting, right? The collective is shifting. The consciousness of Earth is shifting because people are, waking up, right? They're waking up. They're coming to see, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought it is or what I thought it was, or these people that I thought were good and did this, wait a minute, now I'm finding out that they actually weren't and they were doing this instead. So there's this awakening, this mass awakening that's happening. And with that, things shift and there's a new paradigm, right? We see things with different eyes, right? We see more clearly. We see things differently. We maybe things that we just took for granted, we start to investigate a little more and find out that, again, it's not what we thought it was. So to me, this new paradigm that we're moving forward in is one where we're more aware of what's going on. We question things more. We don't just take everything as face value, right? We look behind the curtain and see who's actually behind the curtain with the message, right? And so a new paradigm to me means, again, new opportunity. And I was in a yoga class the other day. I do an online thing. I use this app called the Daily Burn, which I actually really love. It's like $20 a month, and they have a wide variety of workouts like bar, weights, yoga, dance, all kinds of different things. It's really cool. So just a side note, if you're looking for a new online workout. But anyway, I was in this yoga class, and the instructor was talking about, when you just reach your hands over your head, and she was talking about reach just a little bit higher and grow into your potential. And as I was doing that and I was stretching, and when she said to reach a little bit higher, I was surprised that I actually could reach a few more inches higher, right? And I was thinking about that in other ways, workouts, or when I think I can't go any further or last any longer, right? I end up doing more than I think I can. And this growing into our potential, I think, is so important as we move into this new paradigm, because we all have skills, we all have abilities, we all can go a little bit more or a little bit farther or take a little bit bigger step than we thought we could and really step into our potential, right? It's like the days of playing small are over. That's over, right? We all need to truly step into our potential. And with that becomes this space for this new niche or niches to be created in this new paradigm where we're stepping into our true potential and we're opening up what's available for us to create, for what, to make something better, to do something better, all of that kind of stuff. So, like I was saying, I feel like, I know I am, most people I talk to most people are simply just dissatisfied with what's going on in pretty much all facets of life, right? Like something simple as just going out to eat, right? It's like, or even going to the grocery store, right? It can be like, fill you with anxiety. It's like, am I going to have a confrontation today, right? And just simple things, right? Even things like, here in Nashville, I used to go to concerts all the time. Well, I can't even remember the last time I went to a concert. It's been at least a year, right? And so all of this stuff is changing. It's everyone is, just unsatisfied, dissatisfied, pissed off, annoyed. And to me, again, that means that there's this opportunity to serve the dissatisfied people, right? By creating new and different products, by creating different services, by even creating different economies, right? And I've talked for a while about getting out of the matrix, and I did a show on that. It's called Dipping Out of the Matrix. You can go back and listen to that one if you want, where I really get into this a little more. But just briefly, what I mean by that is getting out of the matrix is getting out of the system, right? Everyone knows the movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it. It's so good. It's such a great visual way to understand what this means actually to get out of the matrix, out of the system. But, easy ways to do that are, things like getting off big tech, stop consuming the propaganda news, right? Stop supporting companies or people who are not in alignment with your values and don't stand up for what you believe in, right? And stop accepting censorship, right? Stop letting our voices be silenced, right? And there's a growing number of people who are looking for solutions to these kinds of things, right? They're sick of the status quo. They're sick of what the matrix presents them, right? We're sick of what's being presented in the matrix. And so if you think about these areas where you're fed up and think, okay, instead of just being fed up and just accepting it, what can I create to fill this void, right? What can I create to make things better for people, for the world, for myself, right? Whatever it is. So here's some examples of people finding new niches in this new paradigm that I wanted to share with you to illustrate what I mean when I'm talking about this. So, okay, let's start with technology in cell phones. So we all know, as much as we hate to know this, our cell phones track us, right? They track every single thing that we do, unless we've taken precautions and extra steps to try to shut some of that stuff down the best we can, right? And then with that, then not only the tracking, but then all the ad tracking and things that to try to deliver you content or ads or even information, right, that can affect your mood and your what you're consuming. So people are sick of that, right? People are tired of apps being banned in the App Store and tired of apps getting taken away or the threat of that, right? People are tired of it. So you see these phones coming out now, right? Like there's a phone called Purism, which is, I think if you order it, it's about 6 months out, last I checked, of actually getting it. But this is an ad-free phone, right? It's outside of the matrix. It's starting its own, almost technology economy to operate on, right? Then there's Linux-based phones that are coming out, and Linux is a programming system, and it's these phones are more in developer mode, I think, for people to basically, start. They're not for the average user, right? Unless you know how to use or write Linux code, right? But then also Gab. I saw Gab, the social media platform, they're coming out with a phone. And then even look at the alternative social media platforms, right? Because all the companies and people getting so sick and tired of being censored and kicked off for not towing the line, right? So there's Gab is another social media platform that's an alternative that's outside of the matrix. And in Clout Hub as well, I've had an account on there, but I haven't really looked at it or done much with it. So I'm starting to explore that more. But you see that as an alternative, right? Those are new niches within a new paradigm, right? They're filling a need for a large majority of people who are sick of what's being presented to them by the system or by the matrix. You see now how the rise in the interest in cryptocurrency, right? And even buying precious metals, right? There's that kind of stuff used to be like tinfoil hat stuff, right? Or the crypto stuff was like only, dark web people used it or whatever, right? It wasn't like a mainstream thing, but you're starting to see now the rise in that, right? That's becoming more mainstream. People are exploring it. They're looking into it. They're buying it, right? And that's a huge, you want to talk about a huge niche and new paradigm is that whole blockchain technology. And instead of having centralized financial, right, it's on the blockchain where it's more what's the word? It's broken up, right? It's not centralized, right? And there's even examples of. I was watching a video from Cliff High. I really like the content that he puts out, and I listen to a lot of what he says, but he was talking about these self-organizing collectives, right? People coming together for a common purpose within this new paradigm. And he was talking about GameStop, right? When people got together on Reddit and decided to go, and I'm not a stock person, so I'll just give you my brief understanding, but with how they short the stocks, the Reddit group came together and everybody bought up GameStop stocks, which caused the prices to go up, and then the funds that were supposed to essentially put the money back, they didn't have it. And so it was causing a lot of turmoil, right, on Wall Street, like a lot of and then they were changing all these rules, right? We saw Robinhood, that finance app, right, where people their trades were getting banned. They couldn't they couldn't trade anymore. I know Vanguard made changes to their policy where there was like a 7-day hold on your money if you were transferring funds, right? That change came about during GameStop. So there's these self-organizing collectives within this new paradigm, right, which is a new niche, right, which is people coming together for, like I said, for a common purpose. And as we saw with GameStop and stuff, then the system, the matrix, started to change the rules in the middle of the game when the people started to win, right? So the point of all this and the examples of all this are these are things that we're starting to see now, these new niches, these new ways of doing things in this new paradigm that support the majority of the population, right? People just aren't accepting this kind of stuff anymore. They aren't accepting the mainstream answers or what the system gives them, right? And getting away from that, I think Well, the obvious reason, it's not serving us, right? It's not serving any of us. And within this new paradigm, with the way, with moving forward, right? We're not going to go back to the old way, in my opinion. We're just not. We're too, we know too much. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we just know too much, and it's just not going to go back to like, December or January of 2020, right? Before a lot of this stuff started happening. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Like I said, people being more aware of what's going on, and some of these systems starting to crumble that were not serving the people, right? They were not serving us. And people want different options, right? People like us, if you're listening to this, we want different options. And the problem is our options have been so controlled by companies, by the system, by the matrix for so long that it's time for something different. It's time for something different. It's time for different for different offerings. And now I feel like we're kind of in this stage where everybody's kind of trying to get their bearings. Like, okay, well, it's really easy to see all this chaos and this change and these crumbling, of systems, or even finding out the truth about things. It's easy to just get sunk down in depression and, in the negative of it. But if you can look on the flip side and see that there's so much opportunity for that, I think it starts to make this more exciting. It starts to get creativity can start flowing, right? You can start to think about things like, how could I do that better, right? How could I change things, or what can I do, even if it's just for yourself, right? To bring something better, a better way of doing something into this world. I know I haven't talked about this for a while on the show, but 2 years ago now, I invented a travel product for women traveling, and I have 4 patents on it. And I did that because I wanted to meet a need for myself when I traveled. And I had been using some makeshift ways to do this, but I got prototypes made. I got it patented. I have a US patent on this product, 4 patents actually. And I did that because I wanted something better for myself. And then I thought, well, maybe other people might like this too. Right. And that's still in progress. It's still happening. It's changed a little bit in the past year. So I'm still working through that. But my point in bringing this up is you can do this too. Right. Every one of you listening, everyone in this world can do this. Everyone has an idea. Everyone has a thought. And especially now, because we're so dissatisfied and there's so much of the way we used to do things is not happening that way anymore, right? It's not the way it used to be. So there's the veil isn't up as much as it was before, right? There's more, I think, availability for the creativity to think of new things, because we're not caught up in our old ways of being. So that's why I wanted to bring this up this week about finding your niche in the new paradigm, because each and every one of us have a niche, right? Some of us have many niches, right? And we can use this time to be pissed off about the change, or we can get on the raft and ride down the river with the change, right? And we can accept it, and we can, again, use what we know, what we have, what our abilities, right? To find different ways to do things. And in doing that, we help the population, right? Instead of having all these things like we previously had that were system driven and matrix driven, where it was better for the system and terrible for the people, now we get to shift that. We get to shift that dynamic and create things that solve problems and fix things for the people, right? That for us, for all of us sovereign beings, right? For all of us who are tired of being controlled, for all of us who want a better way of living, and for us that just want to be left the freak alone, right? Just leave me alone and let me live my life, right? There are so many better ways to do things. And so that's what I wanted to leave you with this week. What can you do better, right? What can you do better than what you see right now? What can you bring into this world to help people, to give people alternatives to what's out there, to what potential do you see to develop something new to solve your own problems, like I did with my invention, and then be able to offer that to others to solve their problems, because people want their problems solved, plain and simple. Think about when you have a problem, and in some cases, depending on how emotionally tied you are to that problem, you'll pay a lot of money to have that problem solved, right? So people want their problem solved, and they want it solved easily and quickly. So how can How can you do that, right? How can you do that? What can you bring to this world to solve problems for the people, for the betterment of the people, to bring power back to the people, right? And I think a big part of this is stepping into our own power in this, right? We have to step back into our own power and realize that there's opportunity out there. Realize that we can ride this opportunity, right? We're capable of this. We can do this. And even if we don't like what we're seeing, we can choose to look at it as opportunity. And I think that's just, I don't know, to me that's super exciting, right? If we all switch gears and started looking, at everything as opportunity instead of anger and rage, I think things would just shift so quickly, right? We would have so many things available that we wouldn't even need the system anymore, right? Because everybody would have had organizing these self-collecting units, right? And figured out ways to do things better. They would have brought products to life that serve the people. And I don't know, to me, that's just super exciting. So that's why I wanted to talk about this week. I wanted to talk about finding your niche in this new paradigm, because I believe we all have a niche and the possibilities are wide open. Wide open. There's so much opportunity there. So what can you do to make something better? What can you bring into this world? And can you find your niche, and what is it, right? These are all, to me, exciting questions to think about as we move forward this week. So, all right, that's it this week on the topic of finding your niche in the new paradigm. In the show notes, I'll link to all my social media. I'm on Gab TV, just like I said earlier, most recently Clout Hub. Also, I have my Telegram channel, so please feel free to join me there. In my Telegram channel, I do have a free personal awakening map. There was a show I did on that called Your Personal Awakening Map. It could actually help you probably think through a lot of this stuff that we talked about on the show today about how you can make something better, how you can start to think through that for yourself and what that looks like for you. So check that out. And it's in my Telegram channel. Just join the channel and you'll see it there. And lastly, don't forget to visit 33daysofmagic.com to take what you learned in this show one step further and apply it in your own life. All right, that's it for this week. Remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth.